All right. Hola, Julie.
Hola Sam.
¿Qué tal?
Bien, ¿y tú?
Estoy bien. ¿Dónde
Vamos a
estás?
hablar en español. Vamos a
Sí,
hacer switching to
sí,
it, ¿no?
sí,
Ok,
algunos pueden entender. Está
está
bien.
bien.
Oye, este cámara, ¿no? ¿Está? Okay. Hey, so Julie, um, say hello to the class.
Yeah. Hey class. Hola class. Irving, I can see your hand.
So here's the thing. Say a little bit about what you do. If you introduce yourself and your role in the class and so on.
Okay. So yeah, I'm the class manager. I'm pretty much behind the scenes about grades, assignments, and everything that you need about the class. I'm the person behind the staff email which I know you guys are going to use during the entire semester. Yeah, that's pretty much my role, helping you with anything you need.
Okay, Julie. Um, and who should people email when they have questions about the class? Me or you?
Definitely me, not you, for any reason. I don't know my eyes hurting. Yeah, for any reason. I mean, they can do it, but it just, they won't get any answer.
All right. And why is that? Because I'm a jerk?
No, it's because you have time.
No, because that's what your job is also,
Yeah,
right?
that's my job. That's my job.
Can you get the staff email up there? Can we do that or not? Um, all right, okay. Anyway, the staff at social118.org, okay? We'll put it
Yeah.
up in a second. That's the email that you use for everything. So you
Yeah, that's
never,
simple.
yeah, no, go ahead.
Now, I just want to say, like, I have seen some notifications from Canvas. Some of you have emailed me on Canvas, and if Canvas give me the notification, I will make sure that you get what you need. But if you're in bad luck and Canvas doesn't notify us, like, I won't get your message. So it's just a waste of time if you email us through Canvas. Just use the staff email.
Yep, really simple. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And Julie responds really fast, very quickly, right?
Yeah. I try to do my best.
And Julie is currently in Armenia. She lives in Armenia in Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
So we met in Bogota when she lived in Bogota, but now she's in Armenia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So let's do. Oh, don't you get your? Anyway, thanks, Julie. Um,
Okay, nice to meet you all.
yeah. Okay. We can stay on the screen if you want, but let's. Can you all pull your phones out? We're gonna do the attendance quiz. Okay, y'all. Let's by the way, every semester I do it. We come up with a title that every semester there's one title that is just I always have the idea that it's brilliant. And that's today's title I think is brilliant. So, the art of the switch. Because we're going to talk about code switching and it's really an art, when you do it. And I want to say that quite a number of other people volunteered to be part of this class, but there were too many people. Several of you would be really good for a couple other things that we have in mind. So anyway, we'll bring you up. In the meantime, why don't we start? Why don't we start with you? Just do the introduction.
Hello, everyone. I am Asil Tuejri. I am from Saudi Arabia. I am majoring in aerospace engineering.
So Asil,
Yes, that's right.
Asil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Sonia. I'm majoring in aerospace engineering as well. And originally I'm from Russia, but now I live here. I moved here like 3 years ago.
3 years ago. So did you study in an international school? And where are you from in Russia, by the way?
I'm from Moscow.
Moscow?
Yeah, I finished my high school there.
Uh-huh. And people learn English there. I've only been to St. Petersburg, by the way, so I don't know Moscow. But, okay.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Hi everyone, my name's Nayeli. Um, I'm a second year. I major in psychology, and I'm from Philly.
From Philly. Nayeli? Nayeli or Le? Nayeli? Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Yo, gentlemen, right down there. Yeah,
Hello.
in the front.
My name's Ashton. I'm an applied data science major, and I'm from Westchester, New York.
Okay, cool. Westchester, New York. All right, so listen. First off, I want to say, bro, I'm going to remember, Guy, that we're going to take a few questions from class. So as we go along, if you have a question in class, just raise your hand. And
All right, just for clarification, you are able to raise your hand any point of the class if you just want to have a question or, a comment that you thought is, you want to get it off of your chest. I'd run up to you. You just have to grab my attention is all. Sometimes Sam is going to pause the lecture and he's going to take in questions, and at that time it's free for all, and I'm going to take it by order. All right?
yeah, so once, if he gets your attention, once he sees you, just know that you may not see that somebody else has their hand up and they're going to be first, but he'll remember where you are. Okay? And I generally don't like to do, once we get started here, we need to get into a groove before we start doing questions. So if you raise your hand in the first 10 minutes, he's not going to get a microphone to you because, give us a chance to get going. Anyway, listen, code switching, right? So can you give us some examples of when you code switch? Ashton, let's start with you. Just some examples in your life, code switching. Can you, first off, can we go to the next slide? So here, we need to, before, you can think about this. But, what we're talking about with code switching, it's kind of an odd term, really, code switching, because it kind of, in a way, it's not obvious. If English isn't your first language, it's not obvious. And even if it is, it's not obvious. But, you're adjusting your speech, your appearance, your behavior to blend in with others around you. And it's not necessarily blending in with the majority. Hey, down in the front, it's not necessarily blending in with the majority, okay? We often use it like that because it's often people who are minoritized in some way who talk about this. But we all do it. So, hey, by the way, before you start, are you ready? Do you have an example? Like from high school stuff? You gotta have something.
Not from high school.
All right. So listen, hang on. I want to say one final thing. There's a lot of conversation right now with Donald Trump and DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And Trump has basically just said, nah, we're just done with all of that. The university just put out a statement today. One of those statements that's like, oh man, this is really big, right? Well, as you're thinking about diversity, equity, inclusion, DEI, recognize that what we're doing right here is diversity, equity, and inclusion in the best of ways. And what we're doing is talking about our shared and different experiences in the world based on, various social groups that we're part of. So as you move forward, and if you pay attention to the news and you're watching this, recognize that this class is diversity, equity, and inclusion, okay? So you can do it really well, and you can do it not really well. I just happen to think this is the way I like to do it because it just seems very interesting, but, you be the judge of that. All right, man, Ashton, an example.
So I can give an example of when I experienced it.
Do this thing right there, man, right there. Yeah.
I guess being that I am a black kid,
Wait, what's your background, by the way?
my parents are Guyanese.
Guyanese, okay. Were you born there or born in the
No, I
U.S.?
was born in the US.
Okay.
So being that I am black, I've experienced many times meeting new white people, especially here at college. I'm from New York, so I didn't understand a lot of the Philly lingo and whatnot, but I've had people come up to me and I guess speak to me in a way where using certain terms like John and certain things where it's like, I know you don't speak like that. You don't have to speak to me like that because, you're trying to appeal to me being black or whatever it is. But yeah, that's one example I could say where I've experienced.
So do you find yourself in different situations? So code switching. When would you code switch, like with a professor, let's say?
Oh, okay. Oh well, for example, the way I would talk to my friends at home
Yeah.
wouldn't be the way that I talk to you.
Yeah, dude, do this right here, man. Hold your thumb like that,
Over
and then just hold it on your chin like that, and then it never moves. And if you move your hand, it just goes like that. You all got that? The whole class, you got that? It's really the best way. This is how, when you watch people who use microphones, you see this with like hip hop artists a lot. Man, that's why they're not holding the mic like this. They're oftentimes, they got it right there, because they know it's got to be right in that spot, the sweet spot. All right, man.
Yeah, so the way I would speak to my friends at home wouldn't be the same way that I speak to you.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't speak the same way to maybe people in my major or people in my classes. Just because there's a different objective, we share a different goal. It was for many different reasons, but it's just, I guess, the way that you choose to speak, the language that you use.
So you come to my office hours, you see me, you talk to me after class, something like, what do you assume about me? They would lead you to code switch.
Well, one, you're my professor. You're also my elder, so I wouldn't use cuss words. I would try not to use too much slang.
Like you wouldn't say John.
No.
You'd assume
I
I
mean,
don't
I
know
don't
what John is.
Yeah.
Do you know what John is? No. You're Saudi. You don't know what John is. Do you know what John is? You know what John is because you're from Philly. Can you explain to these two what John is?
Basically, the best way I can explain it is like it's anything. Like it's a person, place, or thing.
Yeah.
Like you're a John because you're a girl. That chair is a John. It's basically anything. It's just
Chorus
like
a John.
yeah.
The microphone's a John.
Yeah. Basically, that's the best way I can
tag's a
explain
John.
it.
Like, hey man, get that John. I need a new John. Hey G, I need a John over here, man. Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
It's pronounced Jawn. Why, dude? Hang on, Philly people. Hold on, Philly people. He's got a question for you.
Why John?
Oh,
yes.
Irvin, our oldest Philly member right here.
John is an evolution of the word joint. Joint goes back to the early 1900s and 1920s, 30s, 40s. The hip caps used to say, "That's a cool joint there." Or "What is that joint? Can you give me that joint there?" Or "This joint is jumping."
Not this joint.
And you've all heard that. So it's evolved today to become John. What is that John? Give me that John. Hey man, that's a cool John there. Same thing, means thing.
Yeah.
Anything.
Got it?
Got it, yeah.
Yeah, that's a big. All right, so go ahead. So you would just switch up a little bit. No slang, no cuss words, no something. Hey, Nayeli. How about you? An example?
Honestly, I was gonna say like kind of the same thing. Like being from Philly, I'm from North Philly, so it's not very many white people there, and I would say just coming here, it's like there's a lot of white people here. No offense, but it's just like how I talk to my friends at home or like my friends from New York. I'm not gonna talk to like some random white girl like that because she might like get offensive, and I'm not trying to be offensive, but. Yeah.
Can you like slip into a conversation? Can you go there? Can you do it without somebody? Wait, is anybody else? Wait, you from North Philly?
Yep.
Any other Latinas or Latinos from North Philly? Yeah. Wait, can anyone have a quick conversation with her? Just I want to hear it.
I have my best friend right there, but she's from New York. But I don't know if
Wait,
that's
can
the
you
same.
do it? Wait, you're from New York? Can you slip into it? Well, you were up here the other day. You didn't do that. Just like that. Just ask her, tell her what you thought about how she did in class the other day.
I think how she did in class. Okay. Honestly, I think she did really good, but I don't know how to like Bro.
Can you slip into the accent?
Okay. I don't think I have an accent, like a Philly
Yeah,
accent.
Okay, yeah.
But I would just tell her like, yo, Maya, like, yesterday I think you did like pretty well. But I would also curse a lot, so I'm trying not to curse
You
because
can
we're in
curse.
class.
Go ahead, man. No, go ahead. No, it's okay. No, I'm telling you. No, hang on. Camera. She has to do this. She's got to throw some, what kind of cursing? Like F-bombs and stuff?
I use every word.
Oh, dude, even better. Don't, just make sure your grandmother doesn't watch.
No, my
all right?
mom's watching.
Your mom's watching?
Yeah.
Wait, mom. Is she? Well, we can't get her a response. All right, whatever. Okay. Can you do it? Can you do that?
Can I do what? Like start talking New York?
Yeah. New Yorican.
New Yorican?
Yeah.
She's Colombian.
Yeah, okay, Colombian. Same thing. Isn't it the same?
Oh,
place?
that might be wild. I'm not gonna lie.
Do the New Yorican one. All right, Colombian. That's good.
Okay. Basically, I was dead talking to her the other day about how I did in like this live stream.
Yeah.
And we was wilding over it because I was reading the comments too afterwards. And low-key, nobody even came for me, which I thought was crazy. And we was laughing about that because, I don't know, because of what I said. And yeah, basically.
All right, so you go right in there. So I follow, but I hear it.
Yeah.
Now say the same thing. You're talking to your professor.
Okay, so the other day we were talking about the live stream and how the questions you're asking me, maybe the things I was saying, and we just thought it was kind of crazy, the replies we were getting in the YouTube comments.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I got it. It's just right there. Okay. So you switch up with your friends. Do you do it with your parents too, or do you?
Honestly, I have a really hard time switching with my parents because I use slang kind of no matter who I'm talking to.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes like I'll talk to like my dad and I'll be like, yo, like, why you talk to that like John over there, da da da, and he'll be like, what are you saying to me? Like, I don't know. And I'm like, you grew up in Philly. Like, you know all these words that I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But I guess because it's like the younger generation,
Yeah.
he's like, oh, because he's old.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's not old, but he's old.
Old like me?
No.
All right. Oh, he's not that old? All right. Sonia. Okay, let's go. We're gonna come back. So you're this person like in Russia, and how do you see this code switching? Like, do you see it? Does it operate in your life?
So for me, I guess it's a little different. I only see code switching when I'm in between countries.
Okay.
I'm a very different person there and here.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't say that I fully belong to the way people communicate there.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot say the same thing about America too.
So when you're there, when you're in Russia, how are you different? Like, how can you? I'm going to give you an example. When I speak Spanish, when I'm in Latin America in particular, Spain actually also, I'm really funny. I just get funny immediately. I go into my comedic side, and so people think I'm really a jokester because I'm always making jokes. But I don't normally do that. Like, I wouldn't do it. But I just automatically go into that space. Okay, well, sometimes I do. With Irvin, I do. But okay, go ahead. How can you explain how you're different?
For me, it's more like, okay, no offense to anyone here, but
Wait, by that do you mean
Americans.
No offense to the Americans?
yeah. When I come to America, I have to be a little like, hello, what's up? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In Russia, it's more like,
Very
calm.
low key.
Yeah, very low key. Yeah, I talk like, like normally, like I talk to you
Yeah.
right now. Yeah, there's
No, but I know Russian culture. Like, it's very subdued.
yeah, very low key. That's why people think
Yeah.
we're always like angry and mad at
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
We're just like relaxed, I'm also like not fully like that. I'm too much for Russians
Yeah.
and not enough for Americans. So I'm
Okay.
kind of in between. But here I'm switching to this like
I like a bigger
Yeah.
personality. So my wife and I lived in Prague in the Czech Republic right after the fall of the wall, but this was not right after, but in 96. And I would go out on the streets. So this is imagine, see, you weren't born then, but this is right after, the transition away from communism, right? And, people, people are very guarded, right? Do your parents and grandparents talk about that?
yeah.
Can you say, like, kind of to the class, like how people were guarded under the Soviet Union?
Oh yeah, like based on what my parents told me, it was terrible. Like this will never ever happen in America. It was just, imagine you live in a box with like cameras. You cannot say anything. You cannot like voice your opinion. So it's not what's happening here right now at all. Like it's a different reality. I don't want to compare it to like to another country.
Yeah.
We all think about it probably right now.
Like China.
I was about to say in North
Saudi
Korea.
Arabia, dude. No, it's not like that. Yeah. Okay, listen. Yeah, North Korea. Okay, listen. So when we were in Prague, I would go out, I'm me, right? And always when I travel, I'm just like more outgoing and I'm more expressive in the way I am, but especially when I'm in a Spanish-speaking country. But I would go to the streets and we would buy, let's say every morning I would go to buy food and we'd pass people and I'd be walking past them like, I'd say in Czech, I learned Czech words, hello, and people would never look at me, and they would always just look down, and if they were looking at me, he said something, they would look down and keep walking. And I would walk in stores, and I'd say hello, and nobody would ever do anything, and ever pay any attention to me whatsoever. And I talked to our friends there who lived in this apartment building that we rented, and they were like, dude, you can't do that here. Like, you have to change. Here, nobody will say hello, and no one will talk to you. It's a little bit different now because things have changed, right? But
You should have tried asking them, how are they? That would, like, definitely, they would be like,
yeah.
Who, me?
Exactly, because it was just this world. So I had to learn exactly what you're saying. I really had to learn to tone it down, like code switch, right? And with certain people I knew, I could be out of it. It's like, okay, so how about you with regard to being Russian in the U.S.? Do you let people know that you're Russian, or are you a little bit careful and cautious about who you say that to? Or
okay, I'll be extremely honest here. With all the political situation, sometimes I'm a little afraid to tell people I'm Russian. So I'm not ashamed of my, like, is it called identity? No, it's not an identity.
Yeah, your identity,
I guess.
Nationality.
Yeah, I'm not ashamed of being Russian, but I'm ashamed of what the country I used to live in my entire life did to another country. Yeah, I'm ashamed of like paying taxes at that time. So like supporting basically in some sense.
Okay.
And I think that, yeah, that's the reason sometimes I'm afraid to tell people I'm Russian.
So how do you try to let people know you're not Russian? Like, do you try to hide your accent?
I usually, I don't try to hide anything. So if they're asking where I'm from, I mean, it's pretty clear from my accent, I think. I just tell them I'm Russian. And right after that, I say I moved here in 2022 because blah, blah, blah.
There you go. That's the code. You're letting people know.
Yeah, I'm letting people know that, like, yeah, I'm not.
Very cool. All right. I like that. I see you. How about you? Do you have a similar thing being Saudi? Because you know how
In what way?
Americans think about
Oh, no.
Middle East Muslim. You're Arab Muslim.
Yeah. That's right, yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm all right with that, but these people, right? How
I mean-
about code switching? Does this ring a bell for you? Are there places?
Yeah,
where you try-
of course, yeah, but not in English. I mean, Arabic mostly.
How in Arabic? What do you do?
So, there's lots of different accents and dialects in just Saudi Arabia alone, other than, like, the rest of the world. So, like, growing up, my mom spoke a different dialect than my dad, or my dad's family and my mom's family. So that kind of switching, even to like culture. So it's kind of a bit different. So switching from there, I mean, you code switch every day, even with friends, with people,
Yeah.
So
similar to what Ashton was saying, like with your friends. And Nayali, how'd I do? I don't know. Listen, man. First off, in my defense, okay, did your mom, look, she has a really, really beautiful. It's written. It's very beautiful in how it's written, but it's Nyalei. So it's it's really beautiful, but when and speaking it in Spanish, it doesn't sound out exactly how you pronounce it, so it throws me off, and I have to keep looking at it. So, in my defense, all right. So it's not just because I'm a boomer, all right. You get this, all right, bro. Do you have any specific, like, so with your friends, you do that?
Yes.
How about? Go ahead. Anything else?
I mean, it happens every day.
What things happen that make you want to code switch? And if anybody else has an answer to that question, what are the places where you really want to code switch? Like, oh man, I got to do that right here.
That's a good question.
How about here? How about just in the U.S.? Do you go places and you, like here at Penn State, and are you really open about being Muslim?
Yes.
So that's not an issue for you.
No, it's not.
Because some, yeah. I mean, when I don't see why. For me, I don't see why it would be, but for some people it is. Like, you know, they're here in the U.S. Like Sonia being Russian. So you're cool with that?
Yeah, I'm very cool with that. Yeah. Yeah.
How about like the Sunni Shia thing? Do you ever like just hide that, like that distinction, or?
All right. So on this topic, I'm not gonna go into any specifics because I'm not I'm not the guy to ask that kind of question. Like anything religious. Like I don't want to be like saying something wrong and
the Saudi, they got the whole Muslim world canceling you.
Yeah, exactly.
That happened before. We were doing this thing. We were demonstrating praying. And then we did the Shia prayer thing. You know, y'all.
Yeah.
Like, are you Shia?
No.
Okay, so Sunni, you like
yes.
you hold your hands at your side, or no, you hold them in front. In front. And the people that we selected from the class were Shia, and so they all did it with their hands at their side, because that's how the Shia do it. So but the Sunnis like this. So you imagine Islam is like kind of half and half. Dude, the hate we got from that. That's not the correct way of praying. You know, it's like the comments, just hundreds, maybe thousands of comments.
Yeah, because religion can be a bit personal, and some people get
upset. Christians, y'all never do. Y'all never get upset with each other about anything. So. Okay, so go ahead. The Shia Sunni thing. Is there a way in which you?
Well, for me personally, I've never like how do you say that? What's the word I'm looking for? Like I live in Riyadh, all right, like the capital city of Saudi Arabia. So we rarely or never see any or me personally, I've never seen in Riyadh. So I couldn't tell you what how our like Sunni or my family or anyone I know would like. It's normal. They're normal people. We don't do anything to them.
Yeah.
It's chill.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Do you have? Let me. I want to open it back up. And I have this question. Do you have any examples? Any of you have any examples of not code switching, and then having it come back and like kind of kick you in some way? Like you didn't code switch. You're like, oh man, I should have done that.
Honestly, for me, I go to like PR a lot, so everyone there speaks Spanish, and they speak English, but not like the type of English like that I speak.
Yeah.
Not saying that. I'm just saying because I'm from Philly. So
Yeah.
anyways. So like when I talk to people there, I can't sit there and be like, yo, like, can I get that John with like the thing, yo, like stuff like that. I can't say that to them because then they're gonna look at me like I'm crazy. Like, one, why are you not speaking my language? You're in my country. And then two, what are these words that you're telling me?
Do people know that you've grown up in the U.S.?
They could tell.
Yeah.
They can always tell.
Do you ever try to hide it from them?
Sometimes, but I don't speak Spanish, like a little bit, but not very well. So it's kind of like easy, especially like I feel like a lot of times with the way you dress too, it's very easy to tell who's American and who's not.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, how about speaking Spanish then? So you're not, are you around how often are you around people who speak Spanish, Hispanics, right? And you kind of pretend you're just not really being overtly open about the fact that you don't speak Spanish. You'll sort of, because that's the type of code switching.
Yeah. Honestly, a lot of times when I meet like new people who are Hispanic and they speak Spanish, I'll tell them like, yeah, like I understand, but I don't speak. And a lot of times it gets scary kind of telling them like, oh yeah, I don't speak Spanish, because then they're like, but why you don't speak Spanish? Like you're insecure? You don't like your, it's like stuff like that. So I'd be like, yeah, no, I speak Spanish amazingly. I'm actually fluent.
But I just
that's
don't want
not.
to do it now. Yeah, like people will come at you in an odd way. Not really in a bad way. It could be like, wait, why don't you speak? Like, come on, man.
Yeah, and then it's like also I feel like a lot of times when you try to learn, it's like they're like, you're not doing it right, so just stop talking. And then you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I got you. Ashton, do you have any examples of where you didn't code switch or you did, it like kind of came back to you in some way? And by the way, somebody in class, if you got a really good example here, definitely raise your hand and he'll get the mic to you, because there are a lot of really, especially at the top too. He's watching, man.
I wouldn't say I've had experience just like that, but being that my parents are from Guyana,
Yeah.
both of them, they've been here for about 30, 40 years now. So at this point, at least to me, I don't hear an accent. So when we go around family or I'm around other Caribbean people,
Yeah.
I think to them a lot of times I may seem very Americanized,
Yeah.
or like I don't have that side of my culture,
Yeah.
just because I didn't grow up hearing an accent as much, or
Yeah.
I don't know a lot of the terms, or
Do you find yourself trying to really emphasize the accent? It's because the Guinea's accent it's a really interesting.
yeah. At times more when I'm more with family, because if I'm being honest, I don't meet a lot of Guyanese people
Yeah.
anywhere. But when I'm with family, definitely when you're talking, like I think subconsciously I don't try to do it.
Yeah.
I like catch myself slipping into a little accent or saying things that I hear them say.
Yeah.
So stuff like that. But
So you you hear them say something, you say it. It's
Yeah.
like the code switching
Yeah.
is all about, it's like trying to fit in with others around you. So you're
Mm-hmm.
saying like, yeah, I'm trying to fit in with my family members
Yeah.
in this way. Yeah. I mean, it's just common, right? How often do you feel like you try to act white to fit in? Whatever that means to you, right? I'm gonna throw that out there. Like, how often do you find yourself acting white?
when it comes to speaking like to peers or people my age, I feel like I don't try to act white. I think around certain demographics, like when I'm around more white people, I tend to speak more proper. Like that usually is, they associate that with being white, but
Yeah.
I try to speak more proper. I don't use certain words that I would with my black friends or whatnot.
Well, but what is let's talk about this for a second. Like, what's proper really?
I mean-
Language is language, right? So what's proper?
At least to me, proper is speaking with a decent vocabulary, lack of slang, no cussing.
Yeah, but John is a cool like when you start open up your vocabulary to lots of these other words, what you're doing is you're expanding the range of words that you can use. And so I'm from the Midwest, and when we think about speaking, people will often point, like if you go anywhere in the country, this is less true today, but it has historically very much been true, and you watch local newscasts from anywhere in the country, whether it's the South or the West, everybody has my accent, a middle American accent. So the people from the South, they do the newscast, the weather report on the news channel in Savannah, Georgia, 40 years ago. The person sounds like me. I'm like, nobody's in Savannah, Georgia. I was in Savannah, Georgia. Nobody sounds like me. But that person did, because that's what was seen, right? So, yeah, so why do you do that, by the way?
Well, I think for multiple things. One, my dad growing up, he always taught me and my brother that we can't speak the way that we would speak at home or with our friends, because we would be looked at differently. So he told me, he calls it the Queen's English.
The what English?
The Queen's English.
Queen's English,
That's what
yeah.
he calls it.
Yeah.
So he always wanted us to speak very proper, or what I call proper.
Yeah.
Also in school, I've gotten a mix of both. I've been told that I speak like I'm white, that I'm not black because of the way I speak. And then for certain things that I say, I've been told the opposite. Like you're speaking like a hoodlum or whatever.
So if
So
you,
it's-
let me ask you this question. The two of you, right? If you didn't know he was black, you hear him speaking, does he sound like any average American to you?
No.
He sounds black?
I mean, yeah. Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Huh. Wait. Do you hear his accent?
Yeah,
Yeah, you hear that?
it's slight, but I hear it.
It's like, yeah. Yeah, did you go to an American school?
Yeah, I lived here for 3 years.
Oh, you lived here. You lived here for 3. Did you speak English when you came here?
Not a single word.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
When did you come here?
Around 2012, maybe?
And you came here for 3 years.
Yeah.
Went back home,
Yes.
and then you came back.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm surprised that that's impressive. You must. Okay, Sonia, would you think that would you guess that he's Guyanese or black or something?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
It's interesting, right? All right. Wait, hang on one second. I had this scratch in my throat. It's killing me. Hey, do you get the piece about language, right? Like I get the do you have in Russia same thing? It's like you have the proper Russian and then you got like the young people are just speaking slang.
I'll be honest with you, I don't think so. So, what is different between how we talk to adults and our peers? I would just say that we use how in America people do that too. We just use like memes or something like that. We do have a little bit of slang, but nothing comes to my mind right now. So it's not really like different language. So if I will talk to you like I talk to my best friend back there,
Yeah.
you will understand everything.
Okay,
Except for the fact that it's in Russian.
so when so you were there before the recent invasion of Ukraine.
Yeah.
But you were there for the first time around.
2014 I was there. I was planning actually to move here, but then I decided to finish school.
And how do you let people know that you support or don't support Putin
Here or there?
there?
Uh,
Because it's a code switching thing, right? You meet people, you got to be like, hey man, I'm down with the president or I'm not down with the president.
okay, so even though my parents wouldn't really like me saying that because they still go there sometimes, you can be easily arrested for that, by the way.
Yeah.
I went to every single protest action held there since 2019, and I was very open about it. I would like post on social media. So I would be like openly supporting the opposition.
Yeah.
And but now when people are like being killed and being arrested for that, like it's really, really bad there. I'm still open about it, but I try to be very I try to understand first what is person's opinion about
cool.
it. So
I like that.
if it's not matching with mine, first of all, I try to not talk to this person anymore, and second of all, I just try not mentioning this topic.
Dude, you have to talk to them and try to get them to convince you that their opinion is correct.
Tried.
Yeah, well, that's what it is about, right? Like, we want to meet people who think differently than we do. Like, right now, if you don't support Trump, there's a lot of really smart people out there who support Trump and like all the things that he's doing. Go find some of them and be like, hey, convince me that what's going on right now is a really, really good thing. Because that's what you want to do. You want to be able to make that argument better than your own argument, Hey, let me go. By the way, one time when I was in St. Petersburg, my wife and I were giving a talk. And in the slideshow that I had, I forget why I had it, but there was this big swastika, right? And it was a big room. I was like a couple hundred people, right, at a university. and I put the we put the swastika up, and the whole room went really quiet. And I'm like, dude, what's? And there was like a rumble in the room. I'm like, damn, what is that? And someone came over and they like, dude, you could get arrested for that. Like, you can't put that up. You know, this is like, the Russian, that's where that's like the swastika, man. You don't even put that up. You guys are.
I'm also Jewish, by the way.
Yeah, okay, yeah. That's really hardcore. What I was using it to is that it was a
Yeah,
photo.
I
was using it for
understand, yeah.
something. But I was like, damn, this is what I want to go to Russia and get arrested for putting a swastika up. And I can see that in the news,
But
All right.
that's the fun, you know?
Yeah, it's different. Yeah, you got to learn that. So there we go. Switch out of that. All right. Can you go here? Percent of U.S. college grads who say that they often or sometimes feel the need to code switch. Okay? So notice that almost half of black people. Can you say something about that? Like, what do you understand about black people that black people will want to code switch?
Like, why would they code switch?
Yeah, what have you learned about black people in the U.S.?
I mean, like what he said. Sorry, I forgot his name.
Ashton.
Ashton, like what he said. I agree with what he said. To be honest.
What did he say?
He said that like he wants to speak proper, like as the what they call it, they associate proper with white people. That's what he said, I think.
Yeah.
And
But why though? What's the reason?
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
the thing, right?
yeah.
Why would he want? Like, why would he care? First
Maybe,
off, I don't like using the word proper. I get the proper thing.
Yeah.
People, man. There's probably enough people watching. Any of you, I get the proper thing. But look, man, language is a really fascinating, dynamic thing, and I'm not into, hey, just speak any way you want and it's great. It's like, no, I get it in certain situations. You're gonna have to, if you don't speak so-called proper, then you're gonna pay the price for it. Whatever, right? It's all good. I was meeting with someone today, and I dropped an F-bomb, and I said to myself immediately, oh man, I let myself go. I just let myself go. I lowered my guard. I'm like, should I have dropped that F-bomb right there in the middle of it? And then I went, I didn't code switch correctly enough, you know what I mean, or whatever enough. So I want to be just careful. But the proper thing, it's like, no, there's a certain way of speaking.
yeah, like I mean, how would you speak to, like, let's say if you're in a court, like, would you speak that way to a judge, or like there's certain levels, like, I don't know what you guys call it, but
So you have the same thing in Saudi
oh
Arabia.
yeah, we
so
do.
there's a way of speaking just this Arabic
Well, depends on the setting, but yeah,
that you're gonna follow a certain
Yeah.
standard of speech patterns,
yeah.
and then you're not gonna go into any slang at all. No swear words.
No,
No nothing.
rarely, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So this is pretty universal. And you're gonna
Yeah,
do
yeah.
that. Why are you gonna do that?
To speak that way,
Yeah.
just to look professional,
And you want to look professional because,
so they can take you seriously,
and you want them to take you seriously because
to get what you want.
to get what you want, to
Yeah.
advance yourself in
Yeah.
some way. And when you don't do that, you just experience the consequences of it.
Yeah, because I think that people associate that like slang and
Yeah.
that type of speech as to like they're probably like lazy, slouchy, or something like that.
Okay.
All
right.
So when you present yourself in a well-mannered way, you get what you want.
Well-mannered.
Yeah.
By well-mannered, you mean a way that is accepted by the majority of the mainstream people
Exactly.
in a culture.
Yes.
As being socialized. And okay, Nayali, I have a question for you. How about your hair? Do you like when you do, because your hair is quite colorful right there. By the way, Mom, I dig her hair. All right.
She's the one that dyed it.
She did?
Yes.
Does she have dyed hair?
It's blonde.
Yeah. Your mom? All right. So how about with your hair? Do you are you aware that, oh man, if I dye my hair, people are going to see it in a certain way, or how do you think about that?
Honestly, I don't. When it comes to like my hair or like the way I dress, anything like that, I do it for me. Like I don't really think about what other people like would see it, because like I know that there's a lot of people who are probably looking at me like right now, like, why does she have pink hair? That's so dumb. But I did it because I liked it. So it's like, I don't know.
So you're young enough now that it doesn't really matter. Like, for what he's saying about, hey, you don't want people to take you seriously. But how old are you?
I'm 20.
Oh, you're 20, so you're young enough.
That's honestly why I did it, because I feel like once I graduate and get a job, okay, I'll dye back. It's hair dye, it's not that big of a deal.
Okay.
But I'm young. Everyone should dye their hair a crazy color, honestly.
Okay. So but let me say something to you. So you, if you had, here's the thing of code switching, okay? Black women who have, let's say, 4C hair. And, so 4C, you know what 4C hair is? No. Do you know what 4C hair is? Bro, can you tell them what 4C hair is? What's your hair, by the way? Do you have it?
My hair is 4C probably.
Probably 4C.
I would assume, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just how tight coils are.
How tight the coils are, all right? So in the U.S. military, it's only been in the past 10 years. So here, check this out. Black women in class, okay? Those of you who have 4C hair. It's only been in really the past 10 years where we've relaxed the standards in the military to allow black women to not straighten their hair. Like the most common hairstyles for black women would be, twists, locks, maybe like braids, extensions. Well, extensions, but if you were in the military, you wouldn't do that. But in the military, you might do cornrows, twists, braids, locks. You couldn't wear your hair like that. You had to straighten your hair. And like, think about that. Like what that means is think about like for here, this is why it also, it's like, wait, how much do I code switch to fit in to give myself any kind of advantage or to fit in or, be accepted or whatever. But like, imagine being a black person. Black men, it doesn't matter because they get their hair shaved off. But in the military, we don't shave women's hair. Mm-hmm. So imagine you have 4C hair. So it's tight coils, right? And you're told that's your natural hair. You can't even just wear it as an afro. Like you can't just wear a 2-inch or 3-inch afro. You can't do the common way that you would wear your hair. You're not allowed to do that. You have to straighten your hair. Like straighten it. So imagine like you, is your hair naturally a little curly? Okay, so you gotta imagine yours has barely got anything in it, right? But you would have to your hair has to be like Sonia's hair. So there is the code switching side. It's just that kind of thing. Hang on. Does that seem really bizarre to you?
I mean, yeah. I mean, when you talk about America, you talk about diversity and people from everywhere coming here,
Yeah.
and they expect like a future. But when you set a certain like society norms that only apply to white people, like you said, like
Well,
the hair.
Applies to people, not just white people, because Asian people are
Oh, yeah,
Asian women
true.
in the
Yeah,
military.
yeah.
People with straight hair.
Yeah,
Not
people with
all
straight hair,
Asians
yeah,
have
yeah.
straight hair, by the way, but it's a thing of like, wait, how is that even? It's only in the past 10 years that the military made that shift. It's like, imagine telling women, it's like, no, you want to be in the military, you got to straighten your hair. It's like, come on. That feels so sometimes, by the way, DE&I people, that's like a DE&I thing right there, where I just said something. So those of you who are against DE&I, imagine you're a black woman and like about this and you deal with this and you're saying like, how can I not even wear cornrows? How can I not have twists, braids, whatever? But I gotta straighten my hair, and how do you not know about that? Why don't you know about it? And why do you not care about it? Why do you not think about it? And so but now when you say like, yeah, we're not going to have any of that stuff because we don't need to learn about it. We don't want to learn about it. It's like that strikes me as being a little bit off balance, in a way. Does this strike you as off balance? Wait, any black women out here with 4C hair, does that strike you as off balance? Like it feels, I'm not going to say it feels racist to me, but it feels pretty damn narrow, man. It feels like something to at least acknowledge that, if we're not acknowledging it. Hey, can we, you have a question?
We also just want to take questions like around town, and we also have questions from the stream as well.
Go put a question from the stream up.
So feel free to just raise your hand if you want to just ask any of them or Sam anything.
Yeah. All right, man, what do we have? Dylan from Sutter, now living in Philly. I was wondering if your parents ever noticed certain habits you've picked up from being around Americans. Oh, man, Dylan, great questions. How about for the two of you?
I think, I need another second to think about it, but I guess they didn't. Because when I come back, the only thing that I do that is a little different from the time when I was living in Russia, I would use a little bit of like English words in my speech. And I think that's basically it. Okay, no, there is another thing. So it's actually quite unusual because back in Russia, I used to be like, okay, that's also a personal like preference and opinion. I don't want to offend anyone. Back in Russia, I would be like very like, if he wants to do that, he should do that. If she wants to do that, she should do that, like that and that. And when I moved to America, I saw how people here sometimes feel that they have, like, they can do anything they want sometimes. It's like...
Much more, just like
Yeah.
greater sense of personal autonomy.
Yeah,
and freedom.
like, you know how people sometimes feel too much freedom.
Yeah.
And when this freedom comes to the point that it interferes with someone else's freedom,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I notice it here. And, it should be the other way around. You live outside of America and you're like very like conservative and
Yeah.
everything. And
Yeah.
you move to America and you're like freedom, yay. And it was the other way for me.
Yeah,
So
okay.
maybe, I think my parents noticed that in
Yeah.
me too.
Yeah. Huh. It's very subtle, but it's big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I realized that, freedom also should be like to the point.
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
to some
It's like
extent.
directed at something.
Yeah.
I see the same thing, and I see it in the Arab Middle East, by the way, a similar thing, but I also see it a lot in Korea. Do the two of you ever, when you're among Arabic-speaking people or Russian-speaking people, do you ever drop English words to let them know that you speak English? Just as like to signal, the code switch signal thing?
No, for me it happens naturally sometimes, and then people make fun of me like, "Oh my God, why are you talking like that?"
Yeah, okay, I got you. All right. Do you ever do that? Do you ever just drop English words in?
Oh yeah, definitely. But
Just to signal to people?
well, not to signal that I know English, but it just happens casually.
Okay, I got
Yeah,
it.
it's
All right.
it's not something Yeah,
Yeah, all right.
yeah.
Yeah.
When you're talking about code switching, do you think environment plays a bigger role, or do the people in the people and population around you plays a bigger role, or is the location where you are, if you're doing a specific task, would that be a bigger role?
Dude, that's a question that's such a cool question. It's a big question. Do you have an answer to it?
I mean, yeah, it always depends on the place, the setting, the people I'm around with. It always depends on that, It's like it's why I code switch, because of those people, because of those certain tasks or something.
Hey, do you go to parties up here, American parties?
I actually don't know anyone American.
Seriously?
Yeah, no.
Damn.
Yeah, all my friends are from Saudi.
Seriously?
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy that I've talked Arabic here more than I talked in English.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Dr. Plata, this guy's your doppelganger, by the way. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
Dude, any Americans here who are not Middle Eastern, you want a Saudi friend? It's like, go out. Like, do you know any good restaurant? Wait, do you have a lot of money? Are you one of those rich Saudis?
I mean, I can't tell. I don't know. Maybe.
Or are
Maybe
you on
not.
full scholarship?
Yes.
Oh, dude, this guy's one of these rich Saudis, man. Dude, do your family own any oil wells or anything like that? Dude, I'm just playing.
Yeah, I know.
I have to say that because somebody will put in the chat like, "Oh, this professor's so stupid. He thinks all Saudis own oil wells." Okay, dude. Do you go to any nice, good restaurants here?
Here.
Yeah.
There are no good restaurants here.
Oh yeah, you're right. No, there is. The Carnegie House is actually a nice restaurant. You can afford it. It's out in Tufts. Do you want to make an American friend?
I mean, yeah, sure. Why not?
Dude, he wants to make an American friend. Who could be this? Anyone want to just go be this guy? Dude, right there, that dude. You know,
All right.
I see. I see it.
Yeah.
Dude, after class, come. What's your name? Angelo.
Nice to meet you.
Angelo. And then you can also claim he's your American friend and your Italian friend. You can pass
Oh,
off
yeah.
as both.
That's
Angelo is one
a
of
great
those-
combo, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Uh-huh.
All right, bro, question? Yeah.
Is this on? Can you hear me? So, as 4 different people with very different cultures, and me being a white American, I tend to code switch a lot. My boyfriend, he's also black, and his friends are also black. So sometimes I'll notice myself code switching. Do you guys get offended when a white American code switches around you? Like, how does that make you feel? Not like you code switching. How does somebody code switching to you make you feel?
Yeah, and hang on to the microphone because I want to ask you a question. How about
Okay.
the two of you? Do you have that? Well, you said it. Some people will use John with you.
Yeah. For me, honestly, it kind of like it's based on tone. If I feel like you're mocking me, then I'm gonna get a little bit offended. But if we're having a conversation and you pick up on some of my words, I feel like it's not that deep for me to be like, why are you talking like that? You don't talk like that. Unless it's like used like mockingly for me. That's
Yeah.
I would say the same thing. Cause I have white friends at home who grew up with me and all my friends, and they like there's certain words or things they'll use. But to me, it's about how genuine it sounds. Like if you come across as trying to purposely use this slang because you know I'm black and you think that I speak a certain way, then it's like. But if I could tell you're just being yourself and you just pick up on things quickly, then I think that's different.
Hey, have you always lived in Westchester?
Oh yeah, my whole life.
Because you have, like, I hear this like southern, this drawl in you. That must be the thing, what you get from your parents.
Yeah, I mean, my parents are both pretty old, so I've heard that a lot.
It's interesting, right? Hey, how do you code switch around your black boyfriend's black friends? What do you do? Wait, what's your name first?
Sophia.
Sophia.
Yes. I don't know. It's just sometimes like, gosh, that's a loaded question. Sometimes like if we're all like just out and about like talking and whatever, like I'll start to get like kind of like a tone to my voice, and I'm noticing it because they're all talking with this tone and now I'm talking with this tone. Whereas with my like girlfriends, I talk how I talk right now. And so some like they love it. They kind of make fun of me for it. So I've just noticed myself like adapting to the way that they talk.
And you're not. And why are you adapting? Just because you are? Because you're just around people?
I just think it might be just me wanting to feel like a part of the group and not
Yeah.
like an outsider, and
Yeah.
just more or less like fit into the conversation better.
Yeah. Well, that's why we all code switch, right?
Yeah.
You know, when I speak in, if I were teaching this class in the way that if you were at my house and we were sitting around drinking some beers, wait, hang on, keep the microphone just for a second. I just don't speak in the same way, so to speak, right? Have you had people tell you, hey, like don't switch over?
No, I haven't. I mean, I'm grateful that my boyfriend's friends are the way that they are and that he is the way that he is, because sometimes like he'll be like, he'll kind of warn me before like going somewhere because I am white and all of his friends aren't. He's just like, hey, don't do this, this, and this. And I'm like, okay, great. He's like, but be yourself, but don't do this. So it's just an adaptation that I kind of picked up being
Yeah,
with him.
okay, it's an adaptation. Just like
Yeah.
when I was telling the story about being in Prague and walking down the street and saying hello to everybody. And my Czech friends had to tell me, dude, you gotta tone it down. People think you're mentally ill, you know? Literally, that's what they told me. Like, they think you have some kind of mental illness thing, like you really need to tone it down. And so that's how life is, you know? Yeah, that's cool. All right. Yeah. Yeah, man.
Hi. Just quick question for any of the five of you. Is there ever a sort of embarrassment when you speak a language that isn't your first? The reason why I'm asking is because I feel,
Wait, hold
I
the
feel
mic.
like I've
Hold the
been
mic.
there.
Hold the mic closer to your mouth.
Oh, yeah. Is there ever a sense of embarrassment when you speak a language that isn't your first? Because I kind of, you reminded me a lot when you told me that Czech story about
Yeah.
you in the Czech Republic.
How about for you? Do you have a story of embarrassment or like really where you struggle with it?
Well, my second language is the French language, actually.
Uh-huh.
And at first there are times where I don't like continue conversations because I was a pretty bad speaker at first, actually.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But now it's I view it quite differently.
Yeah. So you can go into that. Listen, this embarrassment is one of the reasons when you're learning another language. Maybe I don't know. You've had that. Have you tried to learn Spanish, by the way? Do you speak Spanish a little bit?
I try sometimes, but
Dude, just go for it. You gotta just go all in, you know. But you have to really give yourself to it, which is why so many people start with a language and they don't get past the embarrassment. When I was learning Spanish, my first 9 months learning Spanish in college, the teacher that I had, the professor I had, refused to speak English ever. Even in her office hours, she would never speak English. So we just got used to speaking. You had to speak. You had to get past the embarrassment. And I'm so grateful because she just pushed me. But even now, when Julie and I are talking to each other, which we talk every day, I just am speaking back and forth in Spanish. Once in a while I use the wrong word. But if Julie comes on again, if she and I started speaking Spanish, I'd be tripping over myself and like missing things because I can't. There's something happens here that's the switch doesn't get taken over.
Right.
So I think your example, that's a good example. Yeah. Hey, do you have another question from the stream, Izzy? Yeah.
Oh, I had a question. This is more like, I guess, specific to like the non-black panelists. But as a black person, I know that code switching is really tied to like opportunities you get and like kind of navigating systemic oppression. So I was wondering if you guys think the way you code switch ever impacts like the opportunities you get, or whether or not someone like respects your character.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like really an opportunity thing here. You know, like historically speaking in the U.S., it's the passing thing for black Americans, right? So when you're coming out of slavery, let's say the lighter skin you have, the more likely you are to be able to pass as white. And like, it is opportunities. Because in spite of what there is discrimination in the world. There is some discrimination. I don't know how much, but there is. And so, so one of the things is switching to reduce or limit the likelihood that you will experience some kind of discrimination. Do you have a sense of that that's why people, or you, either one?
I have like a strong opinion on that. I don't like to code switch. Like when I talk to adults or like when I talk to someone else, I really don't like using some like other language than I use with like my friends. I think because probably by saying opportunities, sometimes you mean like a job interview, for example, right?
Yeah, something. Yeah.
I think that when you're interviewing for a job and you're code switching, the interviewer sees another person. Okay, so if it helps you get a job, then you will be working for several years doing the job and not being yourself. Do you really need it?
Maybe if you continue to do that, if you continue to play that persona, and sometimes people code switch and they don't have to code. It's people make it a bigger thing in their minds than it is, but it's real. Look, I just gave you the example of 4C hair. It's like, come on, man. If that's happening in the military, then like here we go. So, but you're saying, yeah, but if you do that, you're sort of stuck in this other persona.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if it's not yours, it's not yours.
I got you.
Yeah, find something that is yours.
But you, as a Russian, if you were here and you experienced, discrimination, not every day, but but you knew that, hey, this is really possible to feel some discrimination.
Mm-hmm.
You might
Yeah.
see that a little differently.
Yeah, I see that a little differently. The thing is, I just try to explain. If I have the energy and if I see that person just doesn't understand, that I'm like, I don't know, I'm Russian, I have a little different way of talking to people.
Yeah.
If he refuses to understand, okay, that's not my problem. But if he wants to understand, I would just explain it. That's it.
Yeah, okay, all right. Bro, the question from Saudi Arabia, Mansour, is asking, if, so you're Sunni, if you met a woman that was Shia, and she was interested in dating you, he wants to know.
Marriage in Saudi is a delicate process. It's from my point of view, if you ask me, all right, my family wouldn't.
No, I'm not asking you. Mansour is asking you, man.
If Mansour is asking
Mansour
me,
is giving you the test.
yeah, no, my family wouldn't agree to that. I believe that if you want to get married to someone, I believe that they should be in the same mindset. She grew up the same way as you, So because if you married someone outside of
your culture.
Yeah, if your culture.
No, it's like a culture.
Yeah, it'll be rare that it will succeed.
Dude, if she wants to pray like this and you want to pray like this, that could just hell would break loose in the mosque.
I don't know. Yeah.
What the hell? Look at those people right there.
Yeah.
My God, that'd just be the end of it. All right, wait. We have one. We have one more question. Yeah, bro. Wait, turn it on. Just flip the switch on top. Yeah.
So I'm curious because to me, code switching is something you do temporary. So when it goes against your identity for a short period of time, you tend to code switch. But if you've been in a certain environment for a very long time, your identity begins to change itself.
Dude, yeah.
So when your identity is changed for a prolonged period of time, you're not code switching at that point because it's just becomes you.
Yeah.
So I'm curious as to why when you say code switching, we're referring to a temporary identity. So when does that temporary identity become a permanent identity?
That it's really interesting because when we started, for Ashton here, he's not really even certain. I suspect that you code switch a lot more than you even realize, but it's become part of his identity now. And so he doesn't even know. And Sophia at the top, as she keeps dating her black boyfriend, or she dumps him and dates another black guy, right? And dumps him and dates another black guy, eventually at some point in time, she's just her identity around, as a white woman around black people is going to just start to expand, and then that's going to be part of who she is.
But, I was going to say I agree, but I also think that with code switching, I think that when you start to change yourself as a person, I think that's another topic. To me, code switching is more strictly how I speak, how I carry myself. It's not me changing my interests, the things I like to do. It's not me changing anything about myself in terms of what I enjoy or anything like that. It's more about how I carry myself. So it wouldn't change anything about me as a person.
Yeah, I got you. With time,
over time it can. Yeah.
Just like when you marry a Shia woman, dude, and you're finding yourself praying like like this, damn, come back and let me know. All right, hey, can we have a round of applause for these folks? All right, man. Let's get your get your phones out.